We need that music. I go like Katrina and the Waves walking on sunshine.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And similar songs on Amazon Music.
There we go.
Awesome. Welcome and welcome back.
This is how old I am.
Every time I go for the mailbox, I hold myself down. Can't wait till you like you're coming around.
Wow.
You know,
We're trying to pick a new Surge theme song.
I go off. There you go.
We'll take votes in the chat.
For theme songs?
Yeah. I like that one. I like Walking on Sunshine. It's a good one. Welcome everyone. Some of you we saw moments ago, just mere moments.
Here Comes the Sun. That's a standard.
Classic. Oh, yep.
Waiting on a Sunny Day, Bruce Springsteen. That's a good one.
Love that one.
Paterus has got a good one, but he's gonna have to sing it a cappella. It's like Aerosmith or some Boston band.
I sound good in the shower, Emmett. That's about it.
I'm the worst Filipino karaoke machine you've ever met. I'll tell you that. My mom has only apologized for one thing. She can't sing and I can't sing, but everything else she's done perfectly. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started about 1 minute. Welcome to our weekly Surgecast today. Allie, it's all yours whenever you're ready.
Gonna let a couple more people in. Every time I hit admit all, there's more people coming on in, so give people a minute to.
Where is Vanessa when you need her?
Yeah, she's awesome. We're gonna introduce a couple new team members to y'all today. For those of you who are on our previous hour, you will get the introduction shortly. Very exciting
Welcome,
stuff.
Tara and James and John and Chris. Denise, all right. Heard you got snow in Florida, Denise. Lou, Michael, awesome. Look at this crew. Michelle's on. That's cool. Welcome, Michelle, Rachel, Scott, Sherry. Oh, wow. What a VIP group we got today. All right.
Awesome. More people. Good afternoon. Good day, sunshine. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. We're taking votes for a Surge theme song for our Surgecast in the chat. So if you have a suggestion, ideally related to sun.
Scott, House of the Rising Sun. Of course.
Not that one.
But what's it mean? Tara, you want to explain that to us?
Well, no, I don't. Thanks anyway, though. I appreciate the opportunity.
You had the opportunity to teach there for a minute. This is a rated PG-13 podcast. It's all yours, Allie.
Awesome. We'll kick it off. Welcome, everyone. Lots of familiar faces here today and a couple of you on video. So great to see you guys. We have a really amazing session planned, thanks to Emmett, for today. He's always got the best content coming at you for these masterminds. So I'm just going to start off with a couple opening comments, going back to basics, some shout outs, some announcements, because we do have some pretty significant announcements today, which is really exciting. And then I'll hand it over to Emmett for the bulk of the mastermind, the sales coaching session today. Thanks, Emmett. So as you all know, we are here to make clean energy the new normal by working with commercial and industrial scale projects nationwide. We target the largest users on the grid so that we can create a sustainable future. They set the tone for what everybody else does, right? And they also create the greatest drain on the grid. They're using the most power. And if we can convert them to clean power, then they will be using the most clean power. And that's what really moves the needle. You know, when you see those charts that say, oh, you know, this percentage of our power in the US came from clean energy versus what came from fossil fuels versus what came from, you know, nuclear, solar, wind, hydro, you name it. That's how we make those pies in the pie graph get bigger, is by working with these big customers. So we do that by working with a community and building a movement of clean energy experts. That's all of you, the heart and the hands of our platform and community that are out there connecting with these businesses and organizations to help them make that shift to renewables. And we serve as a conduit and a catalyst. We develop our pipeline and we push that pipeline forward, both in terms of velocity and in terms of directionality. And Emmett's going to talk to you a little bit more about darts and dominoes, the concept of figuring out what sticks and then knocking the rest down just by clicking that first domino. So that's what we're doing here today. We've got our platform, our community, and we serve as a facilitator to ensure that all of our opportunities move through the pipeline as efficiently and seamlessly as possible. And as Chris likes to say, take the happy path, right? It's a true win-win-win-win-win situation for all people involved in the scenario, meaning our clients happy, our members are happy, Surge is happy, our installers are happy, our finance partners are happy, and our product partners are happy, and whoever else may be involved with the deal, right? Sometimes they need a new roof. Sometimes they want EV chargers, right? Our job is to get all of those people in the right room at the right time so that we can facilitate these projects in the smoothest and most optimal way for the end customer.
There we go.
Awesome, you got it. Yep, and most of you have seen our map of where we are currently active. We have 36 states open and counting. We have a state-of-the-art platform, both currently and also being built in Surge 2.0, which is going very well. We're excited about that. Real-time workflow management means that you guys have one source of truth for your projects. You have transparency on all of your projects. We have an ever-improving back office toolkit so that you can amplify your marketing, improve your lead gen, just streamline your sales and ops overall. We also specialize with creating a really clear career path for each and every one of you so that you can advance and have really no income cap. It's unlimited upward mobility. You can build a business while working with our platform. And we do that with extensive training, certification, our weekly meetings like these, which are so much fun, as well as the certification programs that are being built out on the back end by some of our incredible board members. Just looking at you, John and Chris, and a couple others that aren't here today quite yet. And leadership and team building opportunities as well, right? We want to make sure that each and every one of you has the opportunity to bring more people into your world and build out your team so that you can have passive income, passive revenue share, and also just support others, empower others to build their business in this industry that is really ever growing and unlimited, as Chris said on our last call, if you guys were there. So beyond that, we have a fast-paced startup environment, right? Things are constantly changing. The industry we're in is constantly changing, and we are constantly molding and adapting to support you guys and support the industry as a whole. And through that, we end up with a community of like-minded, motivated professionals who are open to networking, open to collaborating with you, supporting one another, and really making change together, which is ultimately our goal. So any questions about what we're doing here at Surge, what our vision is, what our mission is, what our values are? This is some of the foundational stuff that I know you guys have seen before, but is just so important to remember as we do everything that we do.
I think about the easy button back in the day when Staples said, let's make it easy for you to do what you want to do. Easy is not the same thing as simple. Easy is translation of making something complex simple. And right now, we realize that within our first year with many of you, we've got a functional project or product. We built out the board and we built out the mentor team. And wait till April when you see the new interface. Wait till April. Right? I asked Ali, what's it look like today if you're a user? Because I see the admin view. I said, that. And then I looked at what they were going to roll out in April. I said, whoa, it's like Amazon Basics versus Amazon Prime, Uber versus Uber One. Watch out. Yeah, these are our customers or members. It's you, if you're a developer, it's our end user who's a customer that typically has a rough process to go solar or make a better energy efficient company. It's our installers who you only have a limited amount of resources. It's our product partners who want to evangelize a 700-watt panel or free grant writing. and our finance partners. How do we help them, Ellie? This one's yours. I told you it's your turn today.
Absolutely, I was on mute. So yeah, this is the difference between before surge and after surge, right? How are we making this process different for everybody involved? But our core three people here are going to be our sellers, our members that are actively selling through the platform or previously to the platform on their own, our EPCs and our partners, and then the end customer who's actually getting the solar on their property in some way. Solar, storage, you name it, right? And so before Surge, there was more of a challenge to the process, right? There wasn't a clear career path. You didn't have an easy door to walk through, so to speak, right? You probably were also constrained by working with one, maybe two different EPCs in your area. You only had their catalog of products and finance partners to work with. And they may not have had the capability of doing everything that you might want to do, right? Maybe they didn't have any experience with REAP grants. Maybe they didn't have any experience with PPAs. Maybe they didn't have any experience with nonprofits, right? We still run into EPCs that don't specialize in those things. And if you're working with one EPC, you're limited to what they can do and have done. The other thing is the commission structure is completely unclear, right? You could go to one EPC in the area and they say, oh yeah, we'll give you 10%. And you go to another and they say, yeah, we'll give you a kickback of $1,000, right? And that could be a really big difference on these large scale projects, right? Which is not something you want to run into. You want to have a clear sense of what you're going to earn when you put a project into your platform. Then for our EPCs and partners, well, they struggle.
Yeah, just between that transition to EPCs and partners, I know having sold commercial, you were always wed to one EPC. And if they said we're selling Panasonic, we're selling Panasonic. If they said we're selling Iron Ridge, we're selling Iron Ridge. They said this is the only finance wrapper we have, it's the only finance wrapper. And your team of 5 people was going after against another team of 5 people with another vertically integrated EPC against another team of 5 people. We've changed that buying process, right? We've changed that buying process, and that allows folks who are in Resi to step into a career in C&I, and allows people who are in C&I and maybe wed to just one particular EPC and go, why? We were just talking to a guy earlier today who's like, I've been waiting for my REAP grant to be approved for 9 months. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to wait that long. We got grant writers. We have a finance partner that can get you that advanced, guaranteed. Yeah. I love that about the seller side. So then if you're on the EPC side, Allie, what's before and after?
Yeah, really great points, Emmett. And like you said, flipping the sales process and the buying process on its head means that you have freedom, right? You have that control. The thing for our EPCs and our install partners and really any enterprise level partner is they're struggling with finding good sales pros, good sales developers who can actually go out and bring them business, whether you call them brand advocates, marketing partners, lead generators, sales developers. That's where they struggle. We have enterprise level partners come to us all the time and say, hey, how can you help us with sales? Right? We just need to sell more of our product. We had a really amazing product come to us the other day. They have this interesting solar roof combination thing that can be used in carports and really any facility like a storage facility or gym with a metal roof. And they're like, yeah, we just need to sell more, right? It's like, well, great, because we have a huge sales network. They have a limited catalog as well because they don't have that buying power with those larger manufacturers, finance partners, whatever it may be. They struggle to turn darts into dominoes because usually they're dealing with one locality, one geographical area. And so they can't just look at the entire country and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to build my business around churches, or I'm going to build my business around casinos or schools or manufacturing facilities or freight companies, right? That's the freedom that Surge gives each and every one of you, is to pick a domino and knock the line down, right? So the loss of talent means that there's a loss of continuity in their business. They're kind of just scrambling constantly to find new sales. They're picking up jobs that maybe aren't the best for them simply because they have to close, right? They have to get some revenue coming in. And they don't have that continuous brand identity that really makes them an expert in one thing.
Allie, we've got like a 95% accept rate when we're pitching to our EPCs right now. A lot of them are like, where did this come from? Right? Where did this come from? It's huge. Versus, hey, I know a guy that knows a guy. I think this project might be viable. And that's kudos to Chris in the very early stages of our quick quote process, which will blow you away. It'll be 10x better in about 2-3 months. And of course, we brought some new help on who will introduce her in a bit. So then for our customers, what does it mean, Allie? I mean, in the old days, how long was that process? How clunky was it? And what's our vision in terms of helping that change?
Yeah, really great point. Yeah, long, complex, and confusing, as you put it here on the slide, is exactly what it was, and still is for most people that haven't yet heard about Surge. It's hard to get real information and real knowledge, and the beauty of Surge is we're able to Shark Tank the deal and find the best possible options for the customer. We also have a network of experts who can sit there and look at the deal and say, well, actually, did you think about doing this? Did you realize, oh, they qualify for a REAP grant? Let's write them a grant, right? Or, hey, if we use this type of product, we can get you an additional 10% on the ITC. Does that make financial sense? Run the calculations and figure it out. So we have a lot more flexibility and possibilities for each and every one of you to become a chief energy officer, to know exactly what's possible in your area, in the industry you're targeting, maybe in the utility you're working with, and become that expert that people are going to turn to for solutions. And the beauty of it is you don't actually have to be the ultimate expert because we provide so many resources.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what, let me
You
check
can
with
pull
my
your
chief of
Justice
staff.
League or your X-Men together and say, I need this person, I need that person, I need this person. And if they're on the network, they're going to all chip in. I mean, we had a guy the other day we were talking to. He's like, I want to use my local guy. I've been using him for everything. He's a GC, and 35 years I've had this business in the family. And we're like, sure, what did he pitch you? And whatever he pitched him wasn't viable. The guy said we can combine meters. They said we could do this, we could do that. We come in with our team. We're like, well, you know what? We have a different opinion. But you know what? If you want us to sub your guy in, we can sub your guy in. Why break with 35 years of tradition? Why not make the multiplication factor a stack factor versus a binary decision? It's huge. I like this chief energy officer thing. We have a vision where at some point, and some of our board members are teachers like I am, certified professors like Chris, that we might actually create our own type of certification one day. Well, I don't think I ever shared this with you, Allie, but back in 2005, I created one of the first retail certifications in Morehouse College. One of the only colleges that said, hey, we want a retail program. You can't learn retail in college, but this college said yes. Pretty cool. Oh, energy bus. Thanks, Sage. Good pull there, buddy. Anything to wrap a bow on this, Allie?
Well, I'd actually love to call on John for a second, who's here on our Surgecast, already has his mic off, ready to go. Love it. John put in a couple of deals last night, which was awesome. Really, really strong leads, really strong opportunities that we're going to get to work on here. But when we're talking about how without Surge, the customer's buying process is a little messy, I'm going to let John lend a little insight into that, given his customer or soon-to-be customer's previous experience trying to get solar.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty about what we have here is, like has been stated, right? There's a clear pathway from start to finish. So before we had the platform, I had 2 or 3 deals, and it was really, really frustrating. All the stuff here on your slide that says before Surge, I could give you a specific example on almost, I think, every one of those categories. And unless you're, been 20 years in the industry, it's really hard for you to kind of sort through that stuff. So the beauty about this platform is just that, right? We're connecting all the dots, and there's a clear pathway forward, and there's really no guesswork to it. If I don't have, if I don't have an answer, there's somebody on the platform that I can get a hold of very quickly to get an answer. And that is a game changer. Allie knows this. A couple weekends ago, we were trying to get a single line diagram done. It's a little bit above my pay grade. It forced me to learn a ton, but at the end of the day, I knew that there was a team on the platform, and we ended up delivering it. We kept the customer, and hopefully in another couple weeks here, we'll get approval on that one, and get an LOI on it. So the beauty about this thing is that there's a system in place, there's a pathway in place, and it's clean and it's excellent. And if you'll just use it, you really will clear away all the clutter and keep moving forward on it.
Well
Nice.
said, John. Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving here. Yeah, that's our board. And we got a couple new members. And then after you do those intros, Ali, I'm going to take them through a board update. And we have Chris for one more week as our guest. David Ringo was on last week. And then in February, I have two more guests that are going to do Mastermind. So what do you say? We got two new members, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, pop back one slide real quick because I realized Savannah, our amazing brand designer, was not on the team slide the last couple of weeks, even though she was working so hard in the background to create these slides in the first place, which is incredibly ironic. But we love Savannah. She's amazing. She's the one who has really up-leveled our design in the last couple of weeks, over the last month or so. So if you're noticing a change in our graphics and our visuals, that is why, because she's contributed so much and really refined the brand. With that, we have a lot of amazing stuff coming out. As Evan mentioned, with our Surge 2.0 platform, Sav is going to be leading the charge on how it actually looks and feels, which is so exciting. It's going to be beautiful. Also, along with that, new website, new landing pages. You might have noticed some new email templates coming out to you. So all of that is being taken to a whole new level thanks to Sav and her work on brand development. You can see her there in the second row. On the right side. Yeah, right there.
This looks like the Brady Bunch to me. I don't know why she's looking at me all suspicious, but David's looking at her.
She's just so
Craig's
much
looking at
fun.
us, and Van's got the, James Bond thing going over there.
Yeah.
But, hey, James Patterson, I see your hand. After we do this
Yes.
intro, we'll get to you in just a minute, okay?
Okay, that's fine, Evan.
So yeah, I think there were some challenges as we grew very quickly here, much faster than we thought at the beginning of the year. How do you get a hold of Chris? How do you get a hold of Ali? So we
Yeah.
pushed really hard to make sure we had some duplicity there and some redundancy. So we've got two wonderful people coming on board, official now, right?
Yes, yeah. Both Vanessa and Paulina have started officially this week. Two new virtual assistants, so they are remote, just like really all of us. And they're absolutely amazing. Vanessa is my new executive assistant, and she's going to be also working with the rest of the board. So everyone you saw on the last slide to make sure that we're managing our workflow efficiently, achieving all of our targets and our goals. She's going to help with documentation of resources and organization, just improving efficiency as a team overall. And most importantly, helping to communicate with each and every one of you, all of our stakeholders, members, clients, partners, to make sure that you get a response quickly, right? Because I get a lot of emails. I get, as she's noticed, she said, you get like 8 to 10 emails an hour. This is crazy. And that's in just one of my many inboxes, unfortunately. But she's going to help to screen those, take those over, and get you responses as quickly as possible so that you're never waiting on an answer from me. And then, Chris, I'll let you introduce Paulina, that she's going to be working so closely with you.
Absolutely. Thanks. I had to find my audio button here. I'm designing in the background. Sorry. No, everybody should be very happy because we're getting these projects hammered out for you guys. Yeah, so when I first came on board and reconnected with Emmett at the convention and jumped in November, we just got inundated with these really great projects you guys have brought to the table. So what we first had to do was figure out what is it going to take to make it work, right? And then once we nailed that, I said, "Hey, Allie, I'm just this one little guy, and you got this big mound of stuff. I need some help." So she went and did something amazing and found a young lady that I'll introduce you to in a second. She can. Are we saying hi here real fast? Is Paulina Jaramillo. She is my assistant on design and project management. We have been activating, learning, and designing the new bid platform, which our in-house designers will be providing all of your quick quotes by, and ultimately taking on to engineering, depending upon how we decide our platform. Paulina's expertise is in engineering, process engineering, spreadsheets. She's converting all of our stuff over to a really nice Google format. And literally today is Thursday. She started on Monday. She's designing ground mounts, building out the spreadsheets, communicating with customers, setting up roofing estimate appointments. So in hours time, she's gone from zero to really my solar hero in helping me out and you guys out in the field. So Paulina, you want to just say hi real fast?
Yeah, of course. Hi guys, nice to meet you. I'm excited to start with you guys. So if you need anything or you are just trying to reach out, Chris, just let me know and I'll be sure that he gets back to you guys.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, if you don't mind, I'm going to take it from here. Just about 10 minutes from my perspective at the chair, and then a quick pro tip. So last week we talked about the USDA and the DOE, one started by Carter, where we imagined in America that everybody had access to energy. We also learned about history and the USDA with Mr. Lincoln, President Lincoln, also hoping and wishing and wanting to build an America where nobody was hungry. Well, those two things combined, as many of us know, with the USD REAP grants, what a great time to be alive. What a great time to learn if you haven't learned about it, master it, and drive that. The reason why I bring that up for the third week in a row is because I saw this one come across my desk the other day. I don't know how true it is, so I haven't fact checked it, but apparently Einstein was once asked how it felt to be the smartest man alive, and he said, well, I don't know, you'll have to ask Nikola Tesla. And so Tesla responded, all people everywhere should have free energy sources. Electric power is everywhere, present in unlimited quantities, and can drive the world's machinery without the need for coal, oil, or gas. This is back in the early 1900s, right? Nikola Tesla was not in it for the money. He wanted to give the world free energy. If we are to implement free energy in the tradition of Nikola Tesla, we need to replicate not only his science, but his humanity. So yes, we're in a business. I've helped run a couple of businesses. I've been blessed and honored with that talent. But at the end of the day, it's really helping people. It's our service. How do you help find somebody a new career path? How do you help them earn a new trade? How do you apprentice them into mastery, like Chris talks about all the time in the mentor program? How do you help a church take $1.4 million that they're going to pay to their utility and turn it into a ministry? That's the great stuff. There's nothing wrong with making money and saving money. To me, that's my encouragement, kind of tying the last couple of weeks into one of our final podcasts here for February. James, I didn't forget you. Did you want to jump in real quick? Okay.
Yes,
Hope that.
Emmett.
Yeah.
I agree. I like about the more we make things difficult for people, I found, the more they're going to pull away, and the simpler the better. And two, I mean, commercial can get really complicated, so it's so great, like John brought out, to have mentors there. And also, just lastly, that like with this residential person that I met, Neil, he was stuck in resi, and he didn't know he had been, but he said I had been contemplating commercial. So we have a market there of people who are looking to go commercial.
Yeah, you're a man of service ever since I've met you, and you've helped drive a lot of innovation in some of the initiatives we've had. So, James, thank you for that. One of the things I love about James, and I think it's similar for almost all our board members, is we're here to serve, right? That's really the leadership model we have, servant leadership. And the more you can help us understand how we can serve you better, the more we can communicate and we can work together to do that. Thank you, James. Appreciate your patience and me getting back to you. So we talked about this as well. If you take a look at the black being 2021 and the red being 2024, everything's stacking on solar. This is the increase of global, non-fossil capacity additions. What you can see has been the same as the fossil, right? That just hasn't changed. So we're in the right industry. We talked about virtual power plants. So if you were in previous podcasts, you've heard about if you open up a business, you better not be wed to your utility for long. You might open up a warehouse. In many cases, these are data centers. There's retail that's coming in a new format, housing, you name it, a new church. But if you were to walk in and say, let's open up a new church or let's open up a new facility and not consider generating your own power, who's running the show there? The grid cannot meet the capacity of the growth that we're driving through electrification in America, period. It's a fact. Nobody disagrees with that. Where the challenges come are how do you fix that? And so what we're doing for many people is if they don't have their own power plant, we're saying, Hey, would you like to? I'll show you how. And for people who are moving in and opening new business or transforming and buying a property, we're saying, hey, who's your chief energy advisor? Who's your chief energy officer? Let me take you through some options and let me do the heavy lifting for you. Recently, there have been some changes. I'm not going to make this political, but clearly, with the new administration, there's a little bit of rocky ground, a little bit of turbulence that we need to navigate, right? One of the things that, if you really study the facts, is that the LPO, which is the Loan Programs Office that's administered by Jigger Shaw and his team, it grew 10 times in 4 years. And look at the last couple of deals that they put out here in the last couple of days, right? Before the new administration. 1.2 billion for Puerto Rico. I was watching that very closely. It looked like that was not going to make the cut, but it did. That's a big deal for Puerto Rico, a country that was out without power, a country for weeks, right? Uh, $23 billion in other loans. It falls under the LPO, right? So yeah, there's some disagreement and there's some resonance or dissonance around if the IRA stays. What can we do about it? We can study it. I'll share as much as I can with you. I'm not going to pontificate or editorialize it, but I'm going to encourage you as a professional in this business to make sure you're taking time out of your day to study the news, to know, and like a good vitamin or fuel that you eat every day, to know what you're consuming, to know how to become an expert. We can't do that for you. I'll do my best in 5 minutes a week, but these are the things that are happening. Here's another really good one. New Mexico's got a hydro plus solar plus energy, $231 million facility. Now, are all these the type of things that Surge is really geared toward today? No, not at the macro level, but what comes from this? What comes from this is maybe I should check out New Mexico, right? What am I doing in Puerto Rico? Do I know anybody out there? Right? That's the trail that I encourage everybody to follow. What are these loans? Where did they go? Right? 8 projects. Okay. That probably is making the news in those 8 communities. Maybe I should see if I have any connections there. Right? I don't know if anybody wants to weigh in on that before I talk about some of the priorities from the board.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and that I'll admit that it can be a little overwhelming, you know, because maybe a lot of us don't have a framework for it. So, but listen, we're lifelong learners here, right? So there's multiple ways to get a cheat sheet on the basics, so you have a framework. Because if you don't have a framework, it's going to be hard for you to understand the article. But if you understand a basic framework, then maybe we can help with that in time, Emmett. I mean,
That's great.
but I think that's important. Otherwise, you just kind of get overwhelmed and you don't even know what the abbreviations are.
Yeah, that's terrific. I love how you frame it. And it's not a social media post. It's not how
No.
many likes or vitriolic responses you get. It's talking to somebody that you can have an intelligent conversation about. Like I took this to one of my guys in my network, and this is just from this morning, right? I said, what's your take on this? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What should we do it? He goes, I would go out and I'd requote everybody that you've quoted without an ITC. I just want to let you know this is a big question mark. Here's what you could be missing out. So the interpretation and evaluation, John, is important. The context is important. And then the action is important.
Yeah. And maybe just maybe if I can add one more thing,
Yeah.
Emmett, you know, in terms of being a surger, please don't be foolish and get in some wars on social media blasting anybody. Like that doesn't do anything. And it doesn't, if you're a surger, please take the high road and don't make yourself out to be a fool who loves to just blast words across the aisle.
Thank you, Pastor John. Very well said. Harder to
It's not our
comply.
that's not our culture.
It's not our culture. All right, a couple of things from the monthly board meeting. One, we have huge priorities for you. One is advanced our quick quotes to sign contracts. So we have a SWAT team against that. Very rigorous pipeline review led by Ali, Chris, me, and of course our support team. Get the Mentor Factory up and running. I think it's pretty clear if you've met the board members, they're all certified mentors, but get them to the next level so you can say after the quick quote, I want this person to work with me. So we're going to manufacture those quick quotes for you. Your goal, if you are a member, is to go, great, I understand the quick quote, and then who am I going to partner with? Is it John and Emmett? Is it Ali? Is it Chris? Is it Chris gets all first right of refusal because he runs the quick quote department? Is it Eric? Right? That's the second biggest thing you can do. So once you put a legitimate opportunity in the pipeline, our goal is to rate it. I can clearly see our pipeline right now, and I can see all the ratings and all the submissions. I can also see 40 something projects that don't have utility bills yet, right? But once you get it to quick quote, before you demo it, pick a mentor. Have a huddle with a mentor, tweak it, make it yours, and then go out and pitch it. Demo is the key. Up to that point, demo is the key. Recruiting is going to step up with Van and John taking the lead on maybe a bi-weekly call or at the very worst, a monthly call. So you can invite your prospects over. Onboarding call, which is what many of you were on earlier today, with Chris and John taking the lead. So once you land, you know, how do you start networking and how do you start getting that first lead in? We have 2 advisors on every month. Last month was David Ringo and Chris Ebersberg. Next month is going to be Eric Williams Jr. and Van Dang. We have a lot of tech and finance partnerships that we rolled out in Q4. We need to ramp up. We have some really new ones I'm going to sneak preview here in a second for 2025. Ringo's taking the lead with me on field marketing resources and partnerships, and Sav's taking the lead with Ali on brand marketing. We do have some FTC compliance stuff that we need to handle, so we've got a team on that, and I'm working on a potential crowdfunding or Series A. With a pipeline like we have, it's one of the things we just have to do. Questions, comments? Cool, almost done. Sneak preview. This is what our current team looks like. Really, really great pipeline. And in Q1, we are going to launch a white label community solar program. So no more going through the 3 partners we have now separately or through Surge. We will have our own community solar program for you. That's huge. If you don't know what that is, ask your sponsor or find a mentor. That means you don't need to do anything but adopt the solar farm and save money right away. I'm finalizing a grant writing team for schools, education districts, that type of thing. There's a lot of money still in there, and we've gotten a lot of requests to get that up and running. This is one of my favorites, right, Ali? Is a free utility bill. I'll let you talk about that since that was your baby. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. Absolutely. Very exciting stuff. We might have mentioned it in recent calls, but we're developing a new partnership with a company that actually audits utility bills for commercial customers, figures out where the utility company screwed up and overbilled them by accident, or maybe not by accident, we will never know, and actually gets them a refund for whatever mistakes there were in their bills, which is huge. They have an 80% success rate, meaning that they find mistakes and errors and therefore refunds in 80% of the bills that come across their desk. And you can imagine how huge that is as a selling point when you go to a lead and said, well, you know, we can do some renewable energy stuff, but let's just start by figuring out if you've been billed incorrectly and you're actually owed money by your utility company. I mean, huge, absolutely game changing. We're finalizing.
Think about how you train people on your team or yourself to have a conversation. When's the last time you had your bill audited? Insert church or medical center or restaurant here. How'd you like to do it for free? Awesome. How's it work? Well, we work with a company, and 50% of the savings we find that are corrected, you keep. The other 50% we keep. So imagine that, getting a utility bill, we find $10,000 in errors. You do no work but collect it. You put it in your portal. Customer makes 5,000 bucks cash, and we split the 5,000 with you. Let that sink in for a second. Who's doing that at scale in commercial?
And then we introduce you to solar.
Patience, young Padawan. Patience. The last thing here before I transition it to the pro tip is we have organized our board into 5 Ps. One is people. We want to organize it around best member experience. You can see the leaders there. Pipeline, highest close rate, velocity, platform, speed and scale of the platform. Also means valuation. Playbook, best play calling, whether it comes from us or from you. Austin, Alley, and I are the biggest play callers right now, but we'd love for you to be on that graphic. Purpose, brand resonance. I call it Riz. I guess that's because I have kids and grandkids that are that age. And then we're really trying to establish some kind of format for people to give back, whether it be individual or collectively as a company. Right? Okay, so I think all that's left is a little bit of a pro tip. Well, I guess the analogy I have for you today is if you've ever been to the Redwood Forest, and if you have, drop a 1 in the chat. I'm not monitoring chat now, but drop a 1 in the chat. I have. It's amazing. These redwoods have been around for thousands of years. They're taller than Statue of Liberty. But it's interesting how they grow, right? You can see here that their bark is flame resistant. It's got moisture underneath it. So you're not going to have a fire that knocks down redwoods. You can see how they grow above each other in their own ecosystem. But here's the thing. The root system, which to me is an analogy for the members on this team, are all connected. So Surge is the connection. But how we connect is all on us. The root of this 369-foot tree is only 5 feet deep. If you ever walked the Redwood Forest, you know that it goes above ground and below the ground, and every single tree connects. And to me, that's the analogy I like to think about and use as we build out our team. Speaking of that, last episode, we talked about a church, this little church over here in Baltimore County, St. Ignatius. Catholic U's already gone, solar, working on my old parish down in Bowie, Maryland. And we pitched them, and then we did a site assessment. And here's what we learned. So remember, Davis was the sponsor. He brought in Corey. Corey's an arborist, by the way, who attended this church since he was a kid. Said, Emmett, I know you from Home Depot. And then I said, hey, Craig, I need our best installer here. And that was the Power Factor. And we went out there and we pitched them $1.2 million in savings, which we asked them, what would you do with that for your ministry? Now, what's the pro tip? The pro tip is connecting all of this. It could be something as simple as you being a sponsor because you care about somebody who has a passion, and it can multiply. The other pro tip is we did our research, and here's what we found out. There were close to more than a dozen churches that had gone within this diocese and adjacent diocese, solar, within the last year. And we learned what the decision-making process was. And the decision-making process included either inclusion with a group that did the evaluation of these bids, or a guarantee that the commissions were going to be less than 15% of the total deal. And we're sitting there with a senior operations director, and he's just taking notes like anything. Right, R. Craig? Wow, we start with the case studies. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're joining the team. Let's do an evaluation. Here's the other plus, and I'd love Craig for you to toss in for a minute. When we were done, we weren't done because we thought it was ground mount or it was rooftop, but they wanted what, Craig? Are you live?
Craig, he's not here.
They
Oh, there
wanted
he
a third option.
Hey,
They wanted a third option. What was the third option? What was your walk-off option?
walk-off
Carports?
option at the church?
Yeah,
Carports and EV
carports and
chargers.
batteries?
Carports and EV chargers was the
That's right.
another addition.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So that's my pro tip. That's the 3rd episode. We're going to keep you posted on this. I'm pretty sure we're going to close this thing. But I think the pro tip is know your customer, come prepared, make sure you do your research on how these decisions are made. And if your mentor isn't helping you with it, challenge them to do it. Add another mentor to the team. Right. That's all I got. Allie, you want to hit it, put an exclamation point on that? Maybe turn it over to Chris for
Absolutely.
his section, and I think we're going to do pro tips and a reminder of how the process works.
Yeah, Absolutely, absolutely. Everyone, thank you so much for chiming in. Craig, John, we appreciate you so much. And Chris has some exciting stuff to share and reminders really around what we're looking for on the pipeline, right? Like what we need to get your project qualified. Most of you have really leveled up in the last month and a half. I just want to shout out everybody on this call for taking that extra time to put your lead in as thoroughly as possible, all the bills uploaded, all the photos, all the data that we need, and being really responsive if we are missing something, right? You've been really responsive on email. We appreciate that. And now that Chris has a little extra help, thanks to Paulina, our new amazing industrial engineer and project manager, things will be moving a lot faster. So we just want to go back over some of these key points around opportunity qualification. Chris, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, thanks. Just a reminder. So really, just like any other solar or energy proposal, we need to find out where they're at. So the number one thing that we really need are those 12 months of utility bills, not snapshots, not screenshots, not screen captures, not jotted pieces of paper, not Excel spreadsheets, but the utility bills. We'll have an API or a form that you can actually type all that data in and have that, because we got to really make sure that the kilowatt hour rate that we're offsetting is viable. And that's, we have this rating, and that's one of our rating factors is if we're trying to compete against 2 cents a kilowatt hour, it's going to be really brutally hard to do that. Well, we want financing and we have no tax appetite. Well, that's going to be tough. So really, it's that viability, net metering. We're going to look at the utility to find out what they're doing. And do we have the quality installer that we're going to need so that we don't tarnish our reputation as America's premier commercial and renewable energy provider? We have to look at the different opportunities, whether it's cash, credit, PPA, spell those out too, so that the client doesn't get confused, because some of these cash flow charts that go on for 8,000 pages can be quite intimidating. So we try to make it as simple to understand without making it oversimplistic, right? So the other stuff is that we have to go through is to ensure that we're trying to capture many incentives that are available in their area. ITC, if it's applicable, is it a pass-through, or are they going to take it over 5 years? Are they a profit company or nonprofit organization? So based on all of that, we're going to give a brief evaluation along with your evaluation. We're going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 5, how likely do you feel your client is going to move forward should all of the conditions be correct? And then 5 would be, yeah, they got their checkbook out, they're ready to go, or they're already have been pre-approved financing. 1 would be, yeah, maybe next year, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's going to get less of a priority to get our design initially than those that are really ready to go. We want to help you to get as much money as fast as possible. So if we get a 5.5 or higher, 5.5, we're moving fast on these ones.
And right
you know,
now, Chris,
Go ahead.
seller is allowed to rate up to 5 points, and then Surge QAQC adds another 5. So if there's 5 that were entered yesterday and there's 2 7s and 3 9s, then the 9s are going to get done first, right?
Exactly.
Watch
Now,
for that update to come out soon.
we're actually, this is just for like if we get any big surge of requests, so that if we do get any bottlenecks, that's how we're going to rate the bottleneck processing. So unfortunately, garbage in, garbage out, right? So the better your prospect, the higher your chance of getting money out of it. So that's the challenge, to get straight to the financing line. So Ali's putting that together, Salil. So on that. So again, that's what we went over. Just name of all the things that we need for the from the project. 12 months of the actual utility bills, no screenshots, blah blah blah. Primary reason. So this is a really bold question, but when you're talking to the people, there's 2 questions that you should link together. Hey, by the way, Emmett, you guys have been here for a while. We're talking renewables. In the past years that you've owned your building, how many renewable energy proposals have you guys had to trudge through? And the answer would either be 0, 1, 2, or whatever. And so the idea here would be, okay, so you've had 2 proposals and you're a no, right? Are you guys just a no, you're out no? Well, no. So why didn't you pull the trigger? So we just want to know, why didn't you pull the trigger? Because obviously this, here comes the big question. Okay, so what were your guys' vision? What did you envision your system doing for you? And that's a really important question on the front side of this discovery call when you're as you're gathering this to get your lead in, because then you can really measure directly what is their level of engagement. Oh, well, my CPA, my boss said, or whatever, or we're curious, or what's your vision? And people will tell you and just say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. And just shut up and let them tell you as much as possible. Capture that and put that into the project notes. So that's really good to set it apart to make us a really great partner with these guys. The better we understand, the less ambiguity there is, the greater the result
And
and
that
return.
goes back to skill practice and rehearsal.
We'll teach and we'll have some
Before
nice.
you go in, your mentor is going to say, here's how you go in.
Yeah,
It
there
also
you
goes
go.
back to help and serve first.
Exactly.
Anybody can ask for a bill. How you ask for it's different. Oh, it's been 2 years. You haven't made a decision. For heaven's sake, what's up? Is the business doing well? Is the business doing too well? What's come up?
We'll
What's more
teach.
important?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
we'll
teach that.
teach on that as well as we
But
go
don't try to
along.
learn it on these podcasts. Learn it when you get a mentor, because you're never going to present to that client without some kind of coaching. And I would say, at least for now, you're going to want that mentor to be with you when you get to that stage. Yep.
Exactly. So it's what's your vision is what we're looking at. Next page. We'll jam through this. Let's see here. Yep, we'll be able to see your project, your earnings. We'll review it with you. Then we'll book a time with you and your mentor to go over the preliminary proposal. If you've already done this a few times, we'll give you the quick quote, and you may just feel comfortable to sending that off and getting set up the review with the client. So next page. Pro tips. Turn it over to you guys.
Pro tips, project of the week, simulation situation room. Let's open it up.
What's that?
Yeah, this is for the team. Anything you guys want to talk about,
Okay,
drop
good.
in, raise your hand. There's a good point from Salil. Like, when do we see our rating? That'll be in the next UI update. Right now, it's all internal. Chris and Allie and I do a formal pipeline review every Thursday. We did one this morning. But imagine you rating it every by 5 points during every stage. So you start at qualified, quick quote, demo, close, right? You get 5, we get 5. What else is in the chat? Allie, help me out here, Chris.
Hey, Emmett, are we managing the progression of the pipeline, or is Allie and her team behind the
question.
scene kind of moving things around? Because I cleaned up all my stuff the last couple nights, just kind of brought it all up to speed, made new comments and all of that. And
Right now, Allie, Chris, and I have the ability to move from stage to stage, and what we're doing is checking with whoever wants to move it, verifying that it deserves to move to the next stage. Our future vision, Allie and Chris, you want to weigh in?
Ellie? Oops.
Yeah, I think we definitely want the mentors to be able to help with that, but go ahead, Allie and Chris.
Yeah, really great question. And yeah, mentors are going to be able to have visibility into the pipeline, their deals, what's going on, and be able to support our sellers in making sure that things move smoothly. At the same time as, of course, our back end team, our internal team will be managing the pipeline directly.
Gotcha. Okay.
What else?
Any other questions? Got James?
Yeah, no, just want to make a comment. I like Emmett's idea about the quote without the federal ITC, because, it reminds me of like fear of missing out, sticker shock, whatever you want to call it. They don't really see it or appreciate it until they see it now. That's really the incentive right now, is what's going to happen with the administration.
Yep, good one. Well, cool. If you come on board, welcome in advance. If you're already on board, stay tuned. If you thought we were going at Warp 10, we're going at Warp 20 next month. We are featuring Eric Williams Jr. and Van Dang as our guests, both board members. Van's really helpful and leading the charge on recruiting. So if you want to learn how to build a team, get with him. Join us on these Surgecasts. Eric is also in charge of sales development, partnerships. He's particularly adept on the military and veteran side of the world. So if you want to get some knowledge from him, learn more about his expertise, we're very honored that they are going to dedicate at least 2 of these Thursday Surgecast in February. Drop a 3 in the chat to thank David Ringo and Chris Ebersberg for January. Thanks, folks. All right, final thoughts, Allie, and then we'll close it out. Got a board member meeting next.
Yeah, awesome. Seeing a lot of 3s in the chat. Thank you to Chris and to David. Ringo, my apologies. And we're really looking forward to next month. We've got a really great set of content ahead and big updates coming your way, as you've seen. So keep churning, keep moving, keep pumping, and don't let anything get in your way, right? There's a lot of changes going on in the world right now, and the best thing that we can do is put our blinders on and stay focused on making the impact, the positive impact that we can, where we can, every single day. One of my favorite sayings or metaphors for that is that if you want to see a green forest, you need a whole lot of trees that are green. And so it takes each and every one of us to get the outcome we want. If we want a peaceful world, we want a lot of peaceful people. So let's create good in the world and keep churning on what we're doing here in Surge. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Any final comments, just drop in the chat. You know how to reach us. You've got my email, you've got my calendar, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Good job, Allie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
everybody.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.